I'm starting to see the pendulum swing back onto the side of hating Red Dead Online rather than loving it and enjoying it. What is going on, everybody? My name is Zach. Welcome back to another Red Dead Online video. In this video, I just want to talk about the current state of Red Dead Online, where we are as a player base, kind of my own thoughts making YouTube videos on this game and live streaming it every single day over on my Twitch channel, making the videos on YouTube, like I said, and just things like that. And then we're also going to go to Google Trends, and I'm going to show you guys the search volume for all of Red Dead Redemption's keywords and search terms. And you guys can see kind of how the spring update did pretty much nothing to help the game in terms of search volume, both on the web like Google and also on YouTube itself. It does go without saying though that people's YouTube videos, including my own, were getting more views when the spring DLC came out, and just popular opinion of the game was more positive and people were enjoying it. We were happy for all the new content. It was the honeymoon phase. But now we can see a couple weeks later, after the rest of the drip feeds come out for Red Dead Online, we've had 2 or 3 weeks in a row now where people have just not been enjoying the updates. So let's talk about the current state of Red Dead Online in general. We'll talk about the game itself, and then we'll talk about what players have to look forward to with the summer update, and just kind of some other things I want to talk about. Not necessarily any news or information about the summer update, but just my thoughts on how that needs to improve the game. So let's jump into the game itself. For one, we'll start, the servers are laggy. They really haven't been fixed since the day after the spring DLC update. The spring DLC update dropped May 14th, and that day it was fantastic. I don't know about you guys if you played that day. I found no issues. All the stranger missions worked, showdowns were fine, there were no blue screens, there certainly were no black screens. And for all the extra traffic that would have been on the game that day when the spring DLC update dropped as a surprise, you know, I would have figured that the game would have had more bugs and glitches. But then that Wednesday, it seemed like everything just pooped the bed. Like, we had all the showdown bugs, and right now the only way to load into showdown is loading through the free roam totems to get into showdown matches. I think the showdowns are back to working properly on PlayStation 4 again. I was able to use the player interaction menu finally, but it just seems like they're not permanently fixed. On and off every other day, it seems like the showdowns break. We also have a lot of disconnects for a lot of players. You guys have been expressing that in tweets and on Discord and in the YouTube comments and things like that. I've noticed it as well. I'm hardwired on my PlayStation 4. I use an Ethernet cord, but I still don't have an Ethernet cable for my Xbox One, so when I stream on that, I've been disconnected multiple times. But maybe that's just because of the Wi-Fi, because I have an old Xbox One console from 2014 and things like that. But nonetheless, we do have disconnects in the game. Black screens are also rampant, specifically in the Showdown series. Before, when you try to load to Showdown Large using the pause menu or the player interaction menu, trying to get into Showdown Large or any other Showdown mode or PvP mode for that matter, you'd black screen. But now what I've noticed as well is even if you can get in the game, now you black screen when you try and leave the lobby too. So say if you're done for the day, you want to go play a new game, or you just want to back out to free roam, you back out of your player versus player lobby, your PvP lobby, and then you're black screened. And it's like, how did that happen? I'm not really too sure. But so those are some things: servers laggy, showdowns are broken, disconnects, and black screens. Now also, just in terms of game content as well, the DLC content from the spring DLC is dry. People who are into the story missions have played the new story missions countless times. Same thing with the stranger missions and anything else in terms of actual content in the game. And the recent updates haven't necessarily been helping. Now, this is the one thing I do want to bring up, because I feel like a lot of people are kind of missing the point with this. Maybe I'm missing the point, but Rockstar only specified DLC content to be drip fed with the spring DLC update up to June 11th. And over the past couple weeks, specifically on June 18th and also this past Tuesday on June 25th, we've had updates come into the game that have only featured like new clothing. And granted, this week we had the Xbox One get all of the PlayStation 4 early access content and the news of the character customization. But the actual new pieces of content that have come into the game for both consoles as a whole has just been a few pieces of clothing items, and then the Elimination Series update, which is just, you know, it just changed one of the featured modes. It made a new playlist in the game out of already existing game modes. And I don't know about you guys, I wasn't expecting any actual like new DLC content. Like, we got the clothing, and that's why I said for this week we would probably get new clothing again, and maybe we'll get new clothing this next week. But the DLC drip feed from the spring DLC, in my mind, it ended June 11th, because that was the last day Rockstar specified it. So any like June 18th, June 25th, that's all been extra in my mind. Back with the February 26th update, I was like, wow, they're really slacking with this stuff. But maybe it's because I was already expecting a similar type of result with this spring DLC. My main concern lies with when they're dropping the summer update now, just because all of us as fans and players have eaten up through all of the DLC content. We're expecting the next game, and really before the summer update drops, I want the bugs to be fixed. They'll probably be fixed with the release of the summer update because it'll come in a big title update, a huge patch that we'll need to download on our consoles, and that's probably when it will get fixed again, and I just hope it doesn't break. But nonetheless, I'm more concerned about bugs and glitches being fixed at this point and the game being in a stable state than necessarily getting the summer update, because I feel like the game has been performing worse and the game is less stable than it was in the beta. And again, you guys can agree with me down in the comments or disagree. I'd really like to know your thoughts on that. I mean, do you guys feel like the game is functioning better than it was during the beta? There was some BS stuff in the beta, but there's also some pretty BS stuff now, and for calling this game a full release, it's a little bit sad. So that's all the stuff on the game itself. Lagging servers, showdowns are broken, disconnects, black screens, and all of us have gone through the DLC content. The drip feed was pretty short, it only lasted a month, but now again with the June 18th and June 25th update, you could technically argue it's lasted 6 weeks because we've gotten some new clothing, even though we didn't get like a ton of new extra stuff with that. Just the clothing was actual new content put into the game those weeks, whether or not Rockstar announced it or not. So now what do we have to look forward to? Well, we've gotten some big announcements. The biggest one of the past week was the character customization options. That it's like a top requested feature, as Rockstar said, and that's a top requested feature from you guys. Pineapple and I made 2 videos on it, and I think we're all excited to be able to change our character, although I think it said Rockstar said we'll be able to reset our character, not necessarily change our character, which is a little concerning because, you know, I just have one feature to change. I want to change the chin on my character. I don't want to have to start over and make my character again, despite me not being able to lose progress. That's nice, but I also don't want to bulldoze my character entirely, but maybe that may be what we have to do. So we've had that big announcement, and then also the summer update. We're getting the 3-player roles coming in the summer. I just hope they're not fetch quests, you know? I don't want it to be like the bounty hunter, travel from Valentine to Blackwater, bring the NPC back alive for a big payout, or shoot him and kill him and return to Valentine for a smaller payout. You know, along the way, if you bring the outlaw back, you get into gunfights and things like that. People try and stop you. Not people, but NPCs or people, I guess. Something like that, you know, that's just me spitballing. That's what I can imagine Rockstar actually doing, and the summer update, the 3-player roles will be hyped up. Or it could be something really cool where it's a big, expansive journey, and who knows what they're gonna do. I mean, they surprised us in the first place how they're going with these roleplay things. So I'm really hoping that they're gonna bang it out of the park and not make it cheesy like the GTA and Stranger Mission fetch quest that we've had so far in Red Dead Online. The last thing that I want to talk about as well with the summer update is we need that soon. We need it soon. At the very earliest, again, it could release this Tuesday, and at the very latest, it could release at the end of the summer, which is late September. What is it? September 22nd or something like that is the last day of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. Those are definitely the extremes, at the very earliest and at the very latest. But if I were to say any other date, I'm not gonna do that anymore because people seem to misconstrue that I'm saying it's confirmed coming out then. They don't get that when I say I want it to come out that Tuesday, for example, they think I'm saying it's confirmed it's coming out that Tuesday. But nonetheless, if I were betting money, I would say July or August. If it was September, I would be so surprised, and I really don't think it would be. I really don't even think it's gonna be August. I feel like it has to be sometime in July, but again, like, I don't know. So I don't know why people think I do know, and they shouldn't spreading my name around saying I'm confirming anything, because I'm not. But I do want to take a look over at Google Trends as well, because you guys can see the search volume for Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online, and we're gonna compare it to when the game released, when the February 26th update came out, also when the spring DLC released, and you're gonna see why I have a very big concern about Red Dead Online, and not necessarily because I know search volume on the internet and on YouTube doesn't exactly reflect how many players are playing the game, but it's definitely correlated. If not a lot of people are searching for the game on the internet, not a lot of people are playing, and vice versa. If a lot of people are playing the game, it's most likely a lot of people are searching for it on the internet. If this game had millions of players logged on at any one time, you guys will see the Google search results. They would not look like this. So let's just take a look over at Google Trends right now, and you guys can see what I mean. Okay, so here we are. We're on Google Trends. Google tracks every type of search term, and this is what businesses use to track, what keywords to target for their businesses other than using Google Analytics and Google Ads and things like that. But we're just going to do a preliminary search for Red Dead, and you guys will see basically how Google Trends works is it doesn't say exact search volume. You could just go into the search results and search by a certain date and find it. But this shows you the amount of traffic relative to each other. So the game, of course, had the most traffic at this time because this is when the game released on October 26th. So the game peaked in terms of traffic October 28th through November 3rd. Of course, online came out. This is where we were at the state of the game when online released. Right here is when online released, November 27th at first for Ultimate Edition users. And ever since then, the game has just plummeted since. This is the initial reception when a lot of the hate was around. I made a video about the current state of Red Dead Online back here at this time, and this is where we were at. And then Christmas came around and it hyped up a little bit. People got the game for Christmas, so more people were searching for it. But you guys could see how quickly this game fell off, right? And this is what we're going to look at right here. This time period right here. May 12th through May 11th. The spring DLC released May 14th. So keep that in mind. I thought the game was pretty dead back in March and April. All of us were just not happy with the game at all. Rockstar was still silent. They didn't drop the update, so we were all wondering what was going on. So let's look at the past 90 days. You guys can see kind of what's been going on recently. Look at this. Every single Tuesday, this is the search volume for the day. This is the same thing for my YouTube analytics too. They look very similar to this in terms of when videos get views, because it's always during the update days that people are searching. But you guys can see the general trend, right? And this is kind of what the spring DLC did. This was where we were at the day before. Strauss Zelnick said at his investors call for Take-Two Interactive, the parent company of Rockstar Games, that the game would be leaving beta by the end of the quarter, which at the time would be the end of June. So right about at this time, this was the latest we were expecting for the game to be leaving beta on May 13th. But the next day, we got the surprise spring DLC update. It was crazy. All of us weren't expecting it. I don't think any of us were expecting it. Maybe some of us got lucky guesses. But May 14th, we had the spring DLC release for Red Dead Online. We got the new Stranger missions, the new story missions, some of the content, all that stuff. So relative to the max search date for when Red Dead peaked during this 90-day period, it was rated at a 59. It actually went when we got the PlayStation 4 early access exclusives. This was it, like May 14th, a couple days after the spring DLC update. I mean, that's 4 days after it released, so of course more people were playing the game. The game officially left beta, and so this is what the game leaving beta and the new spring DLC did for Red Dead Online. Was this little bit in the 90-day period, and now we're pretty much back to where we were before the update actually released. The game has been falling off again pretty much since, and this was the last day that Rockstar announced we would have content for the Red Dead Online Spring DLC. The last date they specified an update was coming was June 11th, so June 18th as well as June 25th, I was considering extra content. This is where we were at that day, and we have, you could see the updates losing traffic every single time. But just compared to when this game released, of course, it pales in comparison. This is where we're at right now. And that's kind of the whole thing. That's the point I wanted to show you guys, is the game's fallen off. And again, the summer update can help the game. It's going to. There's no doubt about that. But how do we bring us from being down here to being, up here, when people were hating on the game here, and not a lot of people were happy with how the game was. We got some updates. But how do we bring this sheer amount of volume back? That's almost 50% of people who have been, stopped searching since then. 45% of people. If you attribute this to percentages, 52 to 5, we've lost a lot of volume in terms of search on the internet, and I want to say that's almost reflective as a player base. You guys, I've seen it in my comments a million times. People have just left the game, they haven't wanted to give it a shot, and so they watch update videos to know if the game is worth coming back to. But real quickly, because I do want to show you guys just all of the search, it's tough to, no one really uses RDR2 as a keyword, things like that, but Red Dead 2 we'll use Red Dead Online as a keyword search. Of course, they all get different pieces of traffic volume, but you guys could see just the search history. I mean, Red Dead Online compared to Red Dead Redemption 2 is barely, that's the point, is they're all down here. They're not up here. They're not down here. They're not here. They're all just, the game has fallen off. And I really thought, judging by everyone's reception to the spring DLC, I thought the game was making a comeback. And for the first couple weeks, I think Rockstar was really killing it. And then they lost their momentum again. So let's hope that the summer update, we do not get the same type of reception. Let's hope people are really enjoying the summer update. But that can only happen if Rockstar puts out a quality product. I'm sure they will. They've done it with GTA Online. They made a fantastic single player. They can do it with Red Dead Online as well. But I really since we don't have the update yet, I don't know what's taken so long is really the point. So thank you so much for watching. This is the current state of Red Dead Online. I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you guys did. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. And I will see you guys in the next Red Dead Online video. Adios, amigos.